So after my video about coming back to retail, I saw some of your comments about how bad the leveling experience can be. And spending a bit more time in game, I had an idea. I want to experience this game from a brand new player's perspective. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to level to 60 as a new player would to see how bad it really is. First things first, we need to select a server. Oh wow, look at all these servers marked for new players. Well, that's hypothetically what I am, so I guess I'll pick Asgalore because it has a cool name. Next, we need to make a character. I want to be a wizard, so I guess I'll be a mage. As for the race, I gotta go Blood Elf because, obviously. One sec, I'm gonna make myself look fabulous. Now I just need a name. There we go. The adventures of Noob McNoobie are about to begin. Starting zone? Let's go Exile's Reach because I have legitimately never done it before. Alright, we're all set. Let the adventure begin. Now I want to set some ground rules for this character. I will not use any heirlooms, and obviously I can't send any gold or items to this character. I'm going to level mostly through questing, but I'll do the occasional dungeon just to see how it goes at different levels. Alright, loading in, and what is that? Is that a Chinese gold seller spamming in Mandarin? What the actual F? I'm not really sure how to react to this. I see the 1 to 60 to 70, so I'm guessing they're boosting players. Oh, is this because they shut down WoW in China and now they're all coming over to American servers through a VPN or something? Experience is coming fast, and I feel very powerful. Frostbolt is easily two-shotting things. Okay, when did they stop putting new abilities on your bars at low levels? I thought that I only had Frostbolt. It's not a big deal for me, but a new player might struggle really hard on this quest that requires you to use abilities they probably wouldn't even know they had. Yes, this is kind of nitpicky, but you gotta remember the first hour of an MMO is where most players quit. It's stupid, but this could legitimately turn players away from the game if they think the quest is bugged or something. Ooh, a group quest. Let's see if I can solo it. Easy peasy. Though I will say I'm starting to feel weaker. Yes, that was supposed to be a tougher enemy, but my Frostbolt isn't doing as much as it did, even on normal enemies. And on top of that, it's noticeably slower to cast. It doesn't feel great, but it's a pretty minor complaint at this point. Alright, level 10, and they have a fake dungeon for me. This is actually pretty cool. It's teaching new players how to join groups. Oh yeah, I get to choose my spec. I'll just stick with Frost for now because it's what I've been doing. Another nitpick here, but once you select your spec, it should automatically switch over to the talent page. I wouldn't doubt that some new players miss it. And that's the dungeon. Gotta say, I'm impressed. I think it's simple enough for new players to understand, and it teaches them some pretty basic things like don't stand in bad stuff. Overall, I'd give this intro zone an 8 out of 10. It feels a bit handholdy for me, but I've played the game for years. My only real gripes are that new players might have a hard time finding their spellbook and talent trees. Alright, we're out of the starting zone. Now time to start the real adventure. I've decided to level through Battle for Azeroth. And yes, I know how much I've roasted it in my earlier video, but I have two reasons for this. First is that it's the expansion the game guides you to by default, so I would assume most new players would choose it. And two, I haven't unlocked the allied races from there yet, so I see it as a two birds, one stone situation. And to make it fair, I won't let my criticisms of the story affect how I rate the leveling experience. And there's level 20, gained from exploration. So my overall item level is 20, but I got these pants that are item level 54, and my heirlooms that I'm not using would be 54 as well. That's a bit far behind, but it's not too terrible yet. I will say that I feel significantly weaker than I did at the start. Frostbolt feels like a wet noodle now, but if I get a Fingers of Frost proc, I can kill things pretty quick still. I've decided to do a dungeon. Looks like the wait time for DPS is about 6 minutes. That's not too bad. While past me is leveling in the background, I want to thank all you guys for commenting in my other video. That was super cool of you, so I figured I'd respond to some of them. Benjamin said, "Not a great take at all." Well, we all have different opinions. Fry said, "Good effing video." Thanks, man. Boomer Bill said, "I don't think we needed a video about you not liking WoW story. It's cool that you like being a nobody. Maybe there's a game where you can do that." It doesn't seem like you finished the video, but that's okay. I didn't really need you to. Maybe there are some videos out there that you can enjoy. Anthony said this was a good video. Thanks, I appreciate it. A couple of people disagree with me on the chosen one aspect, which is fine. If you like it, great. I just happen to not like it. Another thing I want to touch on here is that there's a gray area between being the chosen one and a random hobo. It doesn't bother me when somebody calls me a champion, but it feels forced and weird when I'm called the champion. Arthur said, Dragonflight is the worst expansion of all time. I'm sorry you feel that way, and I hope you find something you enjoy playing. Legitimately. I don't mean that sarcastically. JJ seems to have not watched the video at all and just guessed how it went. Thanks for commenting anyways. Quite a few people disagree with me on Legion, which again is fine, but I guess I'll explain my stance on it. As a story, I think the overarching story is good, but I hate that it's forced through the perspective of me being the chosen one. Mechanically, as a leveling zone, I'll admit there's not really much difference between any of the expansions, but I absolutely hate the exposition dump quests where you just stand there waiting for NPCs to talk. And as for when it was the current expansion, it felt like Blizzard doubled down on a lot of things that drove me away in the first place. Mission tables, Titan forging, artifacts, artifact power, welfare legendaries, way too much RNG, and of course, the chosen one thing. It's cool if you liked it, I personally didn't. And finally, Swaglord YOLO says, Okay boomer. Weren't you that guy that got banned in Classic for AFKing Battlegrounds? Ooh, there's my dungeon. These dinosaurs can wait. And it's already in progress. Let's hope this is not a bad sign. Okay, that wasn't too bad. And I got some fat loots from it, which is item level 64. That's pretty good. It's weird that BFA randoms don't give you the Satchel of Helpful Goods. I think those should definitely be added to every expansion's dungeons, because I suspect my item level is going to get really bad later on. There's level 30. And I gotta say, I'm getting pretty weak. Outside of Flurry and Fingers of Frost, my damage is pitiful, and I kind of know what I'm doing. I can only imagine how this would feel for a new player. So my item level is up to 55, and my heirlooms would be at 82, which is not great, but I have managed to progress from 34 below to 27 below, so maybe my hypothesis of item level getting worse was mistaken, and it's just a scaling issue. Anyways, I'm going to do another dungeon. Alright, there's the dungeon. Let's see how this goes. Oh boy, somebody's already dead, and I have no idea what's going on. Alright, that was a bit rough, but we made it through without wiping. And I got another piece of loot, which is item level 92. Too bad I can't equip it because it's a mace. I thought that wasn't supposed to happen. Alright, there's 40, and I feel weaker still. I know people are going to argue that the game should get harder as you progress, but this isn't even a difficulty thing. The mobs aren't getting harder, they're just getting more tedious. Frostbolt went from 2-shotting things with a 1.5 second cast time to 10-shotting things with a 2-second cast time. It feels bad, and now even my cheese combo of Flurry, Frost Orb, Ice Lance isn't even killing things as fast as it did. Anyways, my item level is up to 85, which is around where it should have been 9 levels ago, and my heirlooms would be at 113, which puts me at 28 below, which is slightly worse than it was 10 levels ago. Level 50. My item level is now 111. Heirlooms would be at 145, which puts me at 34 item levels below. I finally noticed that I hadn't picked up the talent Lonely Winter, which is just a straight up 25% damage boost. So after I got that, things got a bit quicker. Frostbolt still is a limp noodle though, and unless I'm comboing Flurry with Fingers of Frost, kill times are really slow. Level 55 now, and I gotta say, it's getting dicey. The time to kill enemies has gotten rather annoying, and I can easily die if I'm not careful. I did do another dungeon, which was a bit grueling, and I managed to score 3 pieces of loot, none of which I was capable of equipping, so yay, I guess. And finally, level 60. Those last few levels were rough. I expect a new player would have died quite a few times if they didn't just give up. My item level just went up to 144. Heirlooms at this level would be at 183. So I'm 39 item levels below. That's a pretty big difference, and it shows. I have never felt weaker. Even using my CDs, my damage is not great. This really goes to show how bad the scaling is for content pre-Dragonflight, especially from 50 to 60.
My title might seem like clickbait, but honestly, this is a bad experience for new players. Now, I know that many of you are thinking this is so they can sell the character boosts, but honestly, I think that's a bad sales tactic. If a player levels from, say, 1 to 40, the chances of them buying the boost are probably pretty slim. I mean, they've already gotten this far. And if they decide to buy it right off the bat, their action bars will be immediately filled with a bunch of abilities they have no clue on how to use. They lose either way. And all of this is even before we mention the narrative mess that is leveling in WoW. Putting my personal opinions aside of the story, new players are expected to go through this grandiose story, only for it to be cut off before they get any payout of it. You hit 60, don't worry about that big bad you've been chasing. It's time to go to the Dragon Isles for a completely different story. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say the new player got this far. They hit Dragonflight and have a good time getting the rest of the way to max level. In fact, they get so into the game that they want to start doing harder content. So of course, they start looking for a guild. Now remember the first decision I made at the start of the video. That's right, I selected one of the new player realms, or in other words, a dead realm. Guess they gotta buy a transfer now. I know why things are this way. It's easier to just leave it. Dragonflight is their focus, and it shows. They don't want to waste the resources on the rest of the game. Also, they want you to press these buttons. A new player already has to spend $15 per month of subscription, and another 50 or so once they get to Dragonflight. Now they need to spend more if they want to have a good experience. To be fair, after leveling to 60 without heirlooms, these buttons are definitely more compelling than they were at the start, and probably even more so for someone inexperienced in the game. But I think I've found an even more compelling button to press.